Expected changes to the foreign buyers ban could allow the ultra-rich, those holding a golden visa, back into the property market. Prime Minister says a deal on the foreign buyer rules is being done. This has been hinted for a very long time. The legislation, he reckons, could be enacted later this year. Shamubeel Eaquab is Simplicity's chief economist with us this morning. Shamu, good morning.
Good morning.
So where do you, well, first of all, is it going to mean that we will be competing with them? Or if you've got a $5 million minimum, who really cares? We're not that rich.
Yeah, well, it's both of those things. I think the first thing was when the foreign buyer came in, did we actually see any difference in New Zealand house prices? The reality is that foreign buyers probably made at most 2 to 3% of all house sales. So it didn't make much of a difference back then. And also the new kind of the lifting of the ban that's envisaged is only for the very, very expensive homes. So I don't think for most of us, we're going to see much of an impact.
It's interesting. I was reading at the weekend that there are about 7,000 livable homes at 5 million or above in New Zealand. They're mainly in Auckland and Queenstown. So the most likely situation is that these ultra wealthy will end up buying houses there, right?
Absolutely. And I think, of course, we have issues with housing supply. We have issues with unaffordable housing. But the reality is for most of us and the people who are experiencing housing pressures, it's not at the top end of the housing market. So, my kind of view still is that because the foreign buyers didn't actually make much of a difference before the ban came in, after the ban came in, the lifting of it is not going to make much of a difference, especially when it's only really focused on those very expensive homes.
Because we don't know the detail yet. We've got the Prime Minister on us after 8 and we'll ask him. But what level do you think would be reasonable?
Well, look, again, in my view, there was actually not any real evidence that foreign buyers were making that much of a difference. House sales over the course of the last few years, they've gone up and down by 40, 50%. Whereas foreign buyers only make about 2 to 3% of house sales. So we don't really need the help of foreigners, but they kind of come in at the margin of it. So really, I think it's more about the signaling of it to tell New Zealanders that we have designed this policy so it's not about everyday New Zealanders, but it's for the very top end. We're trying to attract these ultra-rich people. You might have your own views about that, but it's not going to affect the housing market for everyday New Zealanders.
So do you reckon just get rid of the ban altogether? Because I suppose at the end of the day, if you've got people coming here, foreigners who want to buy property in New Zealand, are they going to buy houses that you and I would buy?
Yes, I think in the past there was some pressure. So I think what we had seen, for example, is quite a lot of the interest from Australian investors were for rental properties in places like Rotorua. So yes, that competition can absolutely come into the domestic market. So the foreign buyer ban, I think, pushed some of that out. But I guess the question is, did we see a material difference in home prices in New Zealand because the foreigners weren't here? The answer is no. We had extremely high house prices during COVID when nobody was here, there was no immigration, we did it all by ourselves.
What about this idea that you might do, because obviously Queenstown, Auckland, where the most expensive ones are, if foreigners who are on the golden visa want to come here and want to live in Taranaki or something, then they will probably have to build a big, giant, expensive home, presumably. What about this idea of an upper quartile, where you might say, well, you could buy a $3 million home in Taranaki, but you'd have to buy a $5 million plus in Queenstown?
Typically what we have seen where those boundaries are, they will tend to buy maybe a big farm and then build something on it. So I think it's less limiting than you might think in terms of that. So it's really on the wider definitions of it. So we already have a pretty good process with the Overseas Investment Office in terms of being able to access farmland and other things. So I don't think the regions are going to miss out from foreigners who want to live in these places. As you know, we've had plenty of really expensive vineyards that have been sold to foreign investors and the like. So I don't think we should be concerned that the province are going to miss out. But we know that part of the reason why people want to live in places like Auckland and Queenstown is because they're extremely desirable destinations.
Yeah, they're beautiful places. I appreciate you. Not that Taranaki is not. Shamu, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Shamubeel Eaquab, Simplicity Chief Economist.